Once there was a red ladybug named Leo. He lived in a flower patch with Mommy and Daddy Ladybug in the fields of Africa. Leo liked to go on adventures, but his parents always said he was too young to venture out on his own. One day, Leo decided that he didn't care what his parents said, and he left the flower patch for an adventure all by himself. He walked and walked until he got thirsty and decided to take a drink of water from the river. When he arrived at the river, he saw a log floating close to the bank. Being an adventurous ladybug, he decided to jump onto the log and ride it far down the river. As he was floating, Leo began to realize that he had no idea where he was. The sun was beginning to go down, so Leo knew he couldn't float down the river much longer. He knew he was very, very far from the flower patch already. Leo suddenly jumped off the log and landed in a patch of mud. He was now stuck and could not get out. Thankfully, though, Leo saw an elephant in the distance, so he began to cry out for help. The elephant heard Leo's cries and headed his way. Very gently with his trunk, the elephant picked Leo up from the mud and sprayed him clean with water. "Oh, thank you, Mr. Elephant. I was so scared and could not get out," Leo said. "You are so welcome, little ladybug. I'm glad I could help," the elephant replied. "Do you know how I can get back to the flower patch? I have made a terrible mistake and don't know how to get home," Leo said. "I sure do. Walk through the trees until you get to the big pile of rocks, and then ask the bluebird to help guide you from there," replied the elephant. "Thank you," Leo shouted back as he began on his way. So then Leo walked through the trees until he came across a pile of rocks. Once he got to the rocks, Leo realized that he was too small and too tired to climb over the rocks all alone. Leo saw the bluebird flying high in the sky. The bluebird could see just how tired Leo was and asked him if he needed help getting over the rocks. "Oh, yes, please," exclaimed Leo. The bluebird landed on the ground so that Leo could hop on her back. As they were flying over the rocks, Leo asked the bluebird, "Do you know how I can get home to the flower patch?" "I sure do. You need to go all the way to the tall cliff and then look for my dear friend the giraffe," said the bluebird. "Thank you," Leo told the bird as he began walking to the tall cliff. After walking for quite some time, Leo came to the cliff and could not believe how tall it was. Nearby, Leo noticed the giraffe eating from a tree and asked him if he could help him get to the top of the cliff. "Yes, I could help you with my long neck," said the giraffe. So Leo climbed on top of the tall giraffe and held on tight as he lifted Leo higher and higher to the top of the cliff. "Thank you, Mr. Giraffe," Leo said as he jumped off the giraffe's head. At the top of the cliff, Leo was surprised to see a napping lion. Scared and alone, Leo realized that the sun was almost all the way down and that he was still very far from home. Desperate to find his way home, Leo tapped the lion awake and asked him, "Do you know how I can get home to the flower patch?" "I sure do," said the lion. "I have friends that live there. If you hop on my back, I can run you across the grasslands in no time." Leo then hopped on the lion's back and buried himself deep in the lion's mane. Within no time, as the lion promised, Leo could see the bright flowers of the flower patch. "Thank you so much, Mr. Lion," said Leo as he jumped to the ground. "I'm so glad to be home." Leo's parents rushed toward him as he entered the flower patch. "We are so glad you are safe," said Mommy Ladybug. "We were so worried about you," said Daddy Ladybug. Leo sadly hung his head and said, "I know, I'm so sorry. I will never do things without your permission ever again." From then on, Leo went on his many adventures with either his parents or a friend.